Alright, Mystic response video. Alright, I appreciate just something. See, I commented on a couple of his videos and that somehow provoked him. So I can make hour-long videos and that doesn't provoke him to make a response, but to make a comment, it works. But, I watched a minute and a half of this and he claims it was somehow rude. That's just nonsense. But anyway, I mean, I think to him, rude is you disagree with me. That's being rude. But anyway, you can just see this is going to be a stinker of a video. But some argue that this is semantics, but it really isn't, because it really has to go to the actual function of a brain. And it's certainly helpful to understand you're programmed, you're just a robot. Everything you do is because somebody else before kind of baked the ingredients, threw the ingredients into the pile. And you got baked by the circumstance, and you really couldn't be anybody else besides who you are based on what happened to you. And we're just balls in the pinball machine, bouncing around, kind of. But yeah, the part that gets more complicated than that is that we haven't gone to the new direction yet. And part of the chaos of the machine is our own brain. And the fact that it can add 2 plus 2. And it can model the world and understand permutations and probabilities and likelihoods. And there's just no reason to deny that fact. That to do wrong, you have to do wrong math. You have to add 2 plus 2 wrong. And it's notable. Because, frankly, the only way you can do that is if somebody's saying it's okay to do that. Where it relates. Who cares? It's not like you killed anybody. But yeah, that's sort of what it does end up being. It's enslavement, and it's like deficit spending or something. It looks all harmless till you actually start thinking about it and saying, well, wait a minute, if somebody actually does have to pay that bill in the future, ooh, that's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. The government walks up to me tomorrow and says, you owe $300,000. Yeah, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. You have to go to debtor's prison until the bill's paid. Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing. For me, anyway. But anyway, I'm just saying there's something at stake here, and it's called the future. And the future is dependent on us having this conversation in some sort of way. I want it to be an honest conversation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for any kind of fake bullshit conversation. Talking about some sort of power that doesn't really exist. And if we imagine we have the power, somehow we'll do the right thing. Like if we think we're Superman, we'll jump out of the window and somehow, we'll land on the ground, and then the little kid will fall on top of us and won't get killed or something. So we'll accidentally turn into Superman because we had a notion in our head. I'm not for having fake notions. I'm just saying I don't think you need a fake notion to recognize that things like reward and punishment works on human beings. It's a mechanism you can throw into the mix, and it mixes well. And that things like guilt work really well. It is a kind of punishment. These things work on human psychology. The brains function better. They're more likely to change and do right instead of wrong. That's all. I don't think you're inventing a religion by saying, yes, let's use that. Reward and punishment works, let's use it. I don't think that's woo.
Hello, me again. Comments on my government health warning for determinism.
Alright, so his message. So apparently his message was some sort of insincere, completely thing, and he was just doing some buffoonery. He doesn't really think we should learn from the past to improve the future. It's just some kind of irritating governmentally imposed. The Nazis came knocking on his door and said, "You have to participate," and he said, "Okay, if I have to." So, who's playing bullshit games? It's an important statement, in my opinion. It's not that difficult a concept. Can human beings, because of their brain, can this pinball machine of the universe, this Rube Goldberg machine, can it learn? And my argument is yes, it can. It's not what's so complicated. And the consequences of learning in an evolutionary sense will be an improvement in conditions. Oof.
All going along normally. I was talking to Fader.
Right. So he doesn't read the comment chain. I mean, it's only sentences long, yet he doesn't read it. So. Yeah. Computers. Oh,
it
come
is
on.
in various ways. Well, it's said in various ways, but the message is the same. Shut the fuck up, Nick. We want to go back to our storytelling.
Alright, so here's the real context of that statement. So yeah, I took offense to that. Now, he's going to call me rude, but I think that's a rude statement, because that's not what I'm saying. So let's understand, the Vinter Fader guy brought my name up, okay? You have defended a don't be bothered with social values and just focus on the selfish I-bit philosophy. So that was my previous accusation. That's what I gleaned from when he said things like, he made the comparison between, with pub talk and real talk. And when he makes this conversation about, in the context of Catcher in the Rye, fake and real, all right? And he called social fake, and he called genetic real. But in his statement, he was saying the real point of my video is, like he was saying it, not that this was something out of the book. Well, anyway, so he says here, nope, the glibite didn't, this glibite. So Vinter Fader is saying I'm a glibite. Okay, he's getting that part, that, he's an evader. So if you give him an excuse to be a cheese eater, he'll be a cheese eater. No, this glibite didn't get that from your videos. So he's kind of acknowledging my point, which is, yes, Mystic, you're doing exactly what the cheese eaters want. The versus responsible eating. Any kind of person who uses the, oh, it was determined, I'm just too selfish, I couldn't have done any better. It makes it just so much easier not to jump on the grenade. So even though you logically know, it's time, I have to jump on a grenade, responsibility time, adult time. If we give our psychology excuses not to, and we're not going to be humiliated for it and disgraced, then yes, we won't do the right thing. We'll do the wrong thing, because the wrong thing is so much easier for these psychologies to deal with. Doing wrong is just so much easier. You were more detached and logical than Gary, perhaps. Well, detached is an interesting concept to put next to logical, as if the logical thing to do is to be detached. No, the logical thing to do is to be completely attached. This is like, I say again, there's only billions of welfares at stake. So yes, the logical thing to do when there's all these little welfare stakes, all these little suffering beings dangling over the swords, is to be detached. No, that's not quite right, I don't think. Anyway, logical than Gary, perhaps. More stringent, less activistic. So again, activism is somehow not required. This isn't a crisis of any kind. No activism required. And that's exactly what the Glibites want to hear. Oh, jeez. So Beardy said. So this is the part that just, yes, of course it requires a response. It is said in various ways, but the message is the same. Shut the fuck up, Nick. We want to go back to our storytelling. So again, he's saying that if you disagree with Nick, You're a storyteller, okay? You're a pub talker. You're not getting the real game. And the real game is, let's all make excuses not to do a motherfucking thing. And that's all this glib shit talk, this fucking determinism is saying. It's just saying, look, it's a real burden to be a decent human or to be a good calculator. That's complicated. You have to study, and, being a good calculator is difficult. So yeah, fuck that. Just be a cheese eater because you couldn't help it. I mean, it's just that obvious. So I say, So let's understand, and this is in the context where I'm constantly saying, okay, we're robots. You're a byproduct. But I'll concede, okay, unlike the other nutty anti-free will people, right? I mean, that's why I had to leave that little group of them, is because they just couldn't let go of this idea that somehow it's wrong to punish criminals when, no, it makes perfectly good sense because it's deterrence and it works. Now, if you can make the argument that there's no such thing as deterrence anymore, then yes, I'll open the gates of hell and all the evil can go walk free again. But there's no point in doing that while deterrence works. So anyway, so then I wrote, yes. What story do they want to go back to? The iRobot story or the you are just a byproduct story? Right, I've been emphasizing those concepts. I mean, emphasizing them, assertively imposing the idea, that, I didn't make me. You people did. If you want to give blame or credit, it probably has to go to you. Now that gets a little complicated because like deterrence, okay, which is the punishment part, the reward thing works too. So giving medals to the guy who invented the idea of jumping on a grenade to every guy who jumps on a grenade would be really stupid because, it works giving medals to people. But besides that, even if, let's say it didn't even work, it's still stupid because the guy who actually jumped on the grenade had to do the mental processing that's unpleasant. I mean, it could actually make you throw up. It's so unpleasant to consider the fact that, oh fuck, it's my turn to be a hero. Oh fuck. I mean, it's going to be really, really unpleasant. I mean, I've thought about things like that, right? A plane crashes next to my house and it's on fire and the motor's still spinning and it could blow up any minute. And do I go in there and, try to be a hero, do the right thing? And I'm just saying, if I do it, yes, I displayed courage. I mean, I didn't do the easy thing, which is go in the backyard, say, I'm determined, and eat some cheese. No, I did the hard thing, the physically unpleasant thing. And I don't think it would be a bad idea to give me a little key to the city or something if it all works out well. I don't think that's going to be a horrible crime against logic. Because there's no one else to give it to anyway. Because anyone who made me a courageous person is dead anyway. And you can't really give them the key to the city. I mean, it really isn't going to work out in any kind of rational way. Anyway. Alright. You are a byproduct story. The deterrence works story. Or the as the universe universes, it can get smarter. And the smart bits have a responsibility to do the storytelling story. Yes. Smart people should do the storytelling. Like bus drivers should drive buses. Plane pilots should fly planes. Medically trained technicians should do the doctoring. Yes, whoa, how crazy is that theory? Alright, whatever story someone is telling that makes out they deserve the 1,000,000 points. So again, he's talking about this as if those statements are something to do with 1,000,000 point distribution thing. And again, rewards are just like punishments. Okay? It's not perfect. It's not the perfect system. I mean, punishing psychopaths isn't a perfect system, but it's a lot better than not doing it. Damn. Fuck, this isn't that complicated.
Which I think's correct. And Gary comes in again.
So he says it thinks it's correct that I'm saying, or the other critics are saying, shut up, Nick. Well, that's first bullshit. what they're doing is making counter arguments to your draconian statements that somehow we should all perceive that there's nothing to see in brain. And we can see it doing stuff. Yes, we can't push anything. There's no we to push. The only thing that can happen is that we understand from the way the world works, okay, the model, that there's a certain value to be had. And we can understand that making value, doing things that create more good than bad, that simple idea, okay, that somebody else is watching and counting, works on us. It's, you know, because we are competitive, and we do want to be not pissed on when we're dead, generally speaking. I mean, I guess some kinky people want that kind of thing, but most people don't want to be pissed on when they're dead.
I mean, really, I mean, there's just no saying with Gary. I think I could say it's cheeky.
Yeah, well, again, cheeky to be stringent in my defense of the idea that smart people are the only hope. So I'm being cheeky by recognizing that the dumb people, it's not going to occur to them to play good pinball. The smart people, it has to occur to them that they can't sit around, eat cheese, and expect the future to be a good place. They actually have to get activist. I mean, incredibly activist. I'm not activist enough. I'm a failure. But you people are triple failures. You're not even playing any kind of like, oh, I get it, there's something at stake. I mean, you're playing exactly the opposite game. Let's all bemoan how incapable of being anybody else we were, so we all sat around and ate cheese. I mean, fuck. So I'm being cheeky because I'm saying this is really important, and you fucking intellectuals are totally not playing the game. If we're going to win, you have to put on your uniform and fight. You put on your fucking basketball suit or whatever with a game you want to imagine it is, but you actually have to play. You can't sit there and say it's determined that I just didn't give a shit. What do you mean? That's just bullshit, because you know better. You know 2 + 2 is 4, and you're just saying, everybody's saying to me it's okay if I get the wrong, 2 + 2 is, so you're getting 17. And you're all sitting around saying, well, everybody told me it was okay to get 17. You know, and Gary's just a yob, so I didn't pay any attention to him. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that?
Rude.
Okay, so again, the rude thing comes up. Like, this guy isn't rude. I mean, just amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
But what's the point? Gary is Gary and has carved out his own rules, which...
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're my own rules, frankly. I think they're within the realm of reason. I don't think I've made some sort of insincere or invalid or trollish anything. I'm just sitting here as a brain saying nobody wants to add 2 + 2 anymore. Is there some way I can make it known that we all have to do that? That we actually have to be obedient to what we understand to be total disaster we're making? Shit.
No way, I have as well.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a pussy way to concede. Well, the last thing I said was sort of bullshit because, yeah, I piss on their heads as often as he does.
What story do they want to go back to? You know, it's the old, are you rolling back on this government health warning that I got you to make?
That really wasn't the point I was making. I was defending myself from your accusation again. That somehow I was the one saying, it's got to be pub talk, it's got to be pub talk. You know, and now you're saying that, look, okay, I did some of that pub talk thing just because, just to make a concession to your rudeness. I did some pub talk because you don't think it really has any value for human beings to be emphasized, like to be on a billboard somewhere. Learn from the past so we don't have to live in shit. You know that one? No, no. Coca-Cola. Fuck a rational message on the billboard. Let's just talk about Coke and cheese.
And he finishes with, and the smart bits. That's him.
Well, again, so he says the smart bits are me. This conversation wouldn't be taking place if I thought I was smart enough and I was competent enough to do the job. So the whole point of the argument I'm making over and over again, I've stated over and over again for at least 2 years now, I keep emphasizing smart people are the only salvation here. Smart people have to tell the dumb people how to live. There's no other way around it. That has to take place. Dumb people live really, 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 really stupid. Smart people can be stupid livers, but just don't get me wrong. Dumb people are a huge menace, but that menace can't fix itself. The smart people have to fix it. They have to do the determinism thing and create the environment where the dumb people understand first that they're dumb, and second, the smart people have to put a bunch of barriers so the dumb people can't fucking, you know, overbreed and do all the other retarded things that stupid dumb people do.
Have a responsibility to do the storytelling.
Right, so that's an overt statement, me saying, I'm really disappointed at you, Nick. Can't figure out that you have more of a job here on Earth as a smart person. I'm calling you a smart person, and I'm saying you have a role here to play that you're just bowing out of by saying the universe is just universing. I don't really have that much to do with it. And that kind of bullshit is the kind of bullshit that leads to, you know, babies drowning in cesspools.
That's his kick, isn't it? You know, he's the intelligent one.
Well, clearly, I recognize. I think I can add the 2 + 2s very well. That's right. I think I recognize lots of these dangerous traps that the people will just keep walking into, and blah blah blah. But it clearly the point being emphasized in this conflict with you. Do you think I need to argue with you for my satisfaction? For hey Nick, recognize my intelligence, Nick. I want you to do that. I want you to pin a little badge on there that Nick says Gary's smart. Is that what you think I'm doing this for, you fucking idiot? Or do you think I'm doing it because I have value in... I'm valuing your fucking brain, asshole. And I'm saying we need everyone in this fight. And I'm angry at you not just because you're squandering your brain, but your rhetoric will seep into the brains of other smart people, and they'll all use this, hey, the universe is just universing. I like cheese, you know that? Hey, the universe is, you know, and they'll just not have the mechanisms in place of guilt and sense of responsibility and sense of urgency. None of those mechanisms will exist, and the intelligence will fail because the organism is weak. You don't understand. That's why I hate your guts. Is because you're spreading a sick psychological meme that will not empower the intellectuals to save the day. They're all not going to be heroes because of your kind of rhetoric. And the only salvation, again, that I can, the only way the model can ever work in all the permutations I figured out is smart people have to get off their ass and save the day. Because the dumbasses can't.
Fuck. He tells people, the idiots, what to do.
Well, again, somebody has to give me the logical plan where the idiots figure it out on their own. Show me where the smart people don't have to be like the past, and the smart people don't have to teach the dumbasses, okay, how to not make the same mistake 500 times.
Right. So, going back to their storytelling, going back to your storytelling, and going back to my storytelling, because we're all in this together. Let's start with me. Over the last, or how long, it seems like longer than 2 weeks, but it's probably only 2 weeks I've been doing this, hasn't it? This last series of determinism videos?
Yes, 2 weeks.
Although I talk about, like in that video about 3 videos ago, who should be accredited with the 1,000,000 points? Should it be the person at M that caused or causes N, or should it be the universe A to M that caused the M?
Yes, well, again, this is kind of a moot point, because if some guy cuts his fingers off making wheels, I don't think there's any point in giving the good wheel making guy award to the guy 4 million years ago who invented wheels. What's the fucking point? You're going to go pin on his grave or something? I'm just saying reward and punishment does work, so we probably should keep it, but I'm saying even as a principle, I don't see how understanding how our psychology works, where we have to endure unpleasant feelings to do good, and it's just a truth. All right, having the candy means you can't steal it from the baby, kind of thing, and so you have to earn it in some real way. I don't know. I mean, the idea that it's going to feel good to do good isn't a real concept. There's no evidence in the real world that it works that way. The evidence is that it works exactly the opposite, that you will endure personal discomfort to do the right thing, to stand up on the train, or do this or do that. I mean, there'll always be uncomfortable, not comfortable. And there seems to me no reason at all not to acknowledge that it's good when people endure the discomfort for the cause of a better world. Yes, that's good. It's like not throwing your garbage out the car window or something. It could be uncomfortable to have your smelly maggot garbage in your fucking car for another 10 minutes till you get to a proper garbage can. And so anybody who endures that, I don't see any problem giving them a little medal for it and saying, good job. Way to go, bud. No problem. Why is that a fucking problem for you? That would be the question. Why is that a problem for you?
That then caused the end. Now, although I say these things, I'm a humane being, and obviously I'm talking through video to other people on the YouTubes, on the internet. So, to a greater extent, I want to be the M and get as many of those 1,000,000 points as possible.
So he's saying he wants to be the M, and so he's mixing all kinds of metaphors from his different videos. So now he's talking about the M comes before the N, it causes the effect. So somehow he wants to get 1,000,000 points for causing the effect of people being apathetic and ineffective. You're not going to get points for that, Nick. For fuck's sake. Trust me on this one. You're not going to get any fucking points for that. People who think that way get their head on a stick. Shithead.
By being the go-to man for explaining.
Cop-outery. Make excusery. Glib-itis. Glib-iticitis. The go-to man for glib-iticitis. Are you being troubled by some sense of social responsibility and duty and obligation? Well, just take a Nick pill. It's okay. No worries. And it won't upset your stomach like anacontavod pills. No, because he's obviously grotesque. No, Nick can make it all easy to take. Yeah. He'll give you excuses and it'll all sound like reasonable.
Non-free will determinism, whatever we want to call it, on the YouTubes. That is my way of grabbing as many points, many 1,000,000 pointses as possible.
Alright, so that's another. So it's like I said, he is so glib that he really thinks that we all do things because it's fun and pleasant. That if I didn't have this perception of all this negative shit, like I couldn't have a YouTube channel that could be fun. that I could really enjoy making the videos. It wouldn't be frustrating. It wouldn't make me nauseous to watch the videos I'm responding to. I mean, I've had fun channels, and it was fun. Yeah, it's fun just to go out and mock the universe if I thought if that would work. I mean, I had a whole channel devoted to just watching assholes and making fun of it. But I knew that wasn't serious work. I mean, this is just such bullshit. I can imagine doing many better things than this. I can. And you're doing it because you think you're going to get some points out of it? Well, I'm not doing it because I think I'm going to get any damn points out of it. I'm doing it because the world scares the fuck out of me, and it's the only way I can make myself feel at all better is that, well, I'm trying to do something about it. Amazing. So, but you really think I'm having fun? Fuck.
Gary's way of getting his million points is to tell people that he's smarter than they are and tell them what to do.
Well, I will tell people what I see as rational. I mean, I will point out the trap. I'll say, look, you know what? Look, you can sort of understand, right? Your kids aren't some kind of lesser being. And if you impose hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt on them before they're even born, that's going to be likely uncomfortable as they march through their life, because there's going to be all these liabilities, all these things they can't do in the world because they're $300,000 in debt. And what, is that hard to figure out? That, you know, and that only gets worse over time because of the accruing interest. So the vultures that own them, the masters, it just makes the masters, it's like creating devices like say slavery still existed. That it would be like they'd have the exploding ring around their neck. You know, and they invented the exploding ring around the neck. You know, so at any moment the slave can just have their head blowed off. You know, mechanism. And that's what we're sentencing the kids to live in, the world we're giving them. We're overtly doing it. We're overtly clamping it around their fucking neck. I mean, there's lots of reasons not to deficit spend, but I'm just saying this one's one I thought that would be at least a little bit compelling and visually interesting, is just to understand you're cutting your kids' arms off. I mean, what do you want as a metaphor? It's grotesque, and yet you assholes tell me how you love life and you love your children, when you obviously don't.
Pyro's got his way of doing it. Well, I don't know what it is.
Well, look, Pyro's an idiot, so he's not really relevant to the conversation, okay? Pyro's got vocabulary, and that's all he's got. It's just babble. I mean, he's 13 years old. He'll never be anything else.
Presumably, see the other people, Becca Flynn, Chris Johnson, Ricardo, Yogs, Avalanche, etc. In comments, everyone has their own way of grabbing as many points as possible, because that's what we do as humans.
Well, again, so not, you know, even that just is obnoxious. This is an argument like a physics argument or some other argument. It's an argument about what we see, okay, and how there's a huge incompatibility between how we're seeing things, and we're arguing about that incompatibility because it shouldn't exist. Here we are sitting here in the same world, two eyes, we go brain, similar enough kind of function. We're both supposed to be calculators, and we're not coming up with the same fucking calculation. The numbers aren't the same on the fucking screen. And there's no reason for any of us to sit there and be comfortable with that. Now, I'm not here doing points shit. I'm doing, why are these numbers different? Show me why you came up with that idiotic different number, because I can't possibly see how you fucking add up the world we exist in and come up with that crap. And then you find out that the answer is they're wooers. They believe in some hope thing, or God thing, or spirit thing, or Pyrrho, some spirit God thing. You know, spirigati, you know, it's like throw all the flavors into the bubble gum, idiot. You know. And he's too stupid to figure out that turns into puke.
That's about it, really.
Yes, no, you're just getting what this contest, what this tug of the war is here. This battlefield of ideas. That's what's happening here. And you want again another way of just the Nick perspective, just flip it upside down, squash anything that was real to present it in this way that no, this is just some bullshit academic nonsense. This is just some trivial penis competition or something. Blah 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 blah. When no, it's only the stakes are only the future of mankind and every sentient organism on Earth. Yeah, just amazing. So again, it's never about anything important, because if we start saying it's about something important, then you have to play the real game. Then you actually have to explain why your calculator says cheesy 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 yum yum. You have to explain why it says that.
So Gary, that's the answer to your question. When I say they want me to shut up because this determinism.
So again, determinism isn't the thing we're disagreeing with, because it's not your determinism that everybody's saying, oh, determinism is a horrible thing. No, we have free will. We have this. We have that. I'm not making that argument. I don't think some other people are making that argument. Well, some like Pirro, who knows. But the point is, I'm not telling you to shut up. That's first, number one. And number two, I'm more of a determinist than you are, in my opinion. So I find it offensive for you to say somehow you're the determinism defender. By my calculation, I'm defending determinism. So that's just bullshit. I'm saying iRobot. I'm just saying, obviously, as the universe is evolving, okay, robots evolve. And it's part of the evolution, part of the determinism that the smart bits get smart. And it's just logical that the smart bits understand that dumb bits aren't smart bits. Where did I make a miscalculation in that description of the reality? Once you recognize that dumb bits aren't smart bits, how can you just say, okay, that's all, let's go back to eating cheese? No, no, you have to say dumb bits must be made smart. They must be wised up any way possible. Sometime foot in their anus.
No free will, whole thing says that the points shouldn't go to whoever's listening. It should go to the universe that was prior to them.
Well, whatever. Again, that whole points thing, I didn't even know we were having a conversation about some sort of point system and all that bullshit. Because yes, that I would say, whatever. I don't even, there's just no point. If that's all you think that's going on here is people chasing points, then shit. Maybe you're not as smart as I was giving you credit for. So maybe you're one of the dumb ones that needs some other smart guy to put his foot in your anus.
And of course that doesn't go with whatever story they happen to be telling it. It could be that they're a good mother or a good racing driver or good at cooking.
They're not all the same. So again, the idea of good and putting it in front of racing driver is stupid. But something like good in front of mother, well, that makes a little more sense. So the idea of giving rewards to people for curing cancer or going to school and straining their brain and getting headaches and having to get eyeglasses and do all this stuff because they had they were compelled to get the right answers. Well, that might be worth giving somebody a reward for. It doesn't sound like a bad idea. If we're going to have a reward, it seems that's the kind of thing you reward, and you don't reward some guy who is just spending hours with binoculars seeing where all the women's are at so he could rape them. I mean, if you're going to give out rewards, I don't see any point in dumping one on that asshole. Oh, fuck.
Spaghetti carbonara, who knows what it is. But it might distract from their points tally. So that's why I say in various ways.
Yeah, well, whatever. Again, I just don't. It's just a cop-out to say that this isn't a real disagreement about real nuances of how the universes and how we model how the universes. And the only thing really, the biggest thing we're really arguing is the idea of a universe that evolves and a universe that doesn't. I'm saying the part of the evolution is smart people, and part of their evolution of being smart is panicking. That's what smart people, they should be smart enough now to realize the calculator says, as I stated in my video, it says FUBAR. It's time to panic. It's time to understand that something must be done by the smart people. They have to quit eating cheese and get to work.
But the message is the same. Shut the fuck up, Nick. We want to go back to our storytelling. The storytelling is the new normal human.
Look, my name was in the reference. I'm just saying go back to their storytelling. So you're saying that somewhere I'm violating, I'm doing pub talk when I say it's a fact that reward and punishment is a cage the human race can build that works. It guides human beings into constructive rather than destructive behavior. And yes, of course, I'm not defending giving billions of dollars to Hollywood douchebags or billions of dollars to stupid sports idiots. I'm just saying the idea of rewards and punishments does work. I'm for giving little medals to people who took a bullet.
Not task, is it? Normal human mode of points gathering. And somebody coming along and saying that...
Well, even that, I'm just saying as a practical matter, I'm just saying there's no way I can do the calculations of understanding human beings and not recognize they're competitive. And that you have to take advantage of that competitive psychology if you want to maximize their performance. Because it's really what drives them. So the game is just a thing a smart person tricks tricks an organism almost at any level of intelligence, because they all psychologically are playing some game like that. So yes, let's concede our characters are blended into the native natural mechanism, and there's going to be some triggers for that psychology that will make you more capable, awake rather than asleep. And we might as well take advantage of that aroma.
That point should not be allocated to them. It should be allocated to what created them.
Well, I know, but what created them was every little tiny bit of the universe, so that there's no practical way to reward anything then. So the point is, you kind of defeat the purpose of reward and punishment if you give the rewards to nothing that can appreciate the value of being rewarded. That's just the truth. But even outside of that fact, the bottom line is, again, I think you're mixing metaphors or mixing concepts of human psychology, and not to recognize that when thoughts are the universe is universing inside of us, there's two kinds of things universing. There's the personal body, and then there's the ideas, and they're not anywhere near the same thing. The personal body needs to be fed. The ideas don't need feeding. They need seeding, not feeding. You know, they need argument to be refined and fixed. They need certain things, but they don't need anything like the body does. And I think it's just way too simplistic not to recognize that as the universe universities creating human intelligence, that intelligence is fragilely held in a gorilla's hand. And you gotta be careful, because gorillas are stupid.
It doesn't sit well. So best shut that fellow up.
Again, bullshit. I love determinism videos. If that's all you were making was determinism videos, but you sprinkle them with the futilism And that was what the last video was supposed to be a response to, where now you're just mocking the idea of learning from the past to improve the future. You think it's just some government pub talk. You know, you're basically, again, you sit there, I oblige you to do something, you do it fake, so you can claim either way. Well, yeah, I did it, you can claim, or, haha, I got you. What the fuck is that? What's the fuck with that kind of insincerity?
And so we can go on to gathering as many points as possible.
Yeah, well, whatever. Bullshit, bullshit.
That's the answer to it.
And nobody can disagree, because it's come from Lord Mystic.
So, and again, let there be no doubt. These things are so difficult, but I don't think there'll be too much doubt. I am making this video to gather up as many points as possible.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Points as what? A menace to future generations. You want to gain you fucked the future points. So let's say we were really talking about truth points. Getting the right answer. And again, I'm going to argue, show me how reward and punishment, acknowledging its effectiveness, isn't getting the right answer. Acknowledging the fact that it almost universally works on all human beings, no matter how, you know, there's almost no human you can't affect with a reward or a punishment. So explain to me how that's not a real thing working in the real world, and that smart people should be designing the rewards and the punishments instead of dumb fucks.
Whereas they really should all be allocated to A to M.
Well, again, it just breaks the whole idea. Because if you reward my dead father, you know, or punish my dead father, that's not going to work. Or his father, or his father, or his father. I mean, that's something God comes up with nutty ideas like that. Like, let's punish the kids. That'll sure teach the bitch. You know, I mean, God can come up with a nutty idea like that. But I don't think, you know, either of us are going to be fooled by that, are we? Are we? Are either one of us going to be fooled by some stupid idea like, you know, let's pay royalties to the guy who invented the wheel? Yeah, no, that's a dumb idea.
But that doesn't give me any short-term boost at all. So, give me the points.
Well, again, I'd say the whole thing can be done without points and blah 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 in intelligent conversation, but you're just denying what's really happening here, which is our calculators are coming up with different numbers, and we should have to account for that. It's not about points. It's about recognizing that that we're both smart enough to know different answers are the wrong answer. Can't work that way. Where one of us is wrong or both of us is wrong, that kind of thing is in play. It's not about fucking points, Nick. So you want to make it about points, go ahead. I'm saying bullshit.
There you go.
Okay. I'm like I said, I'm clearly not doing this because my brain says cheese, 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 cheese. This is such cheese fun. No. This is the fucking nastiest vegetable I ever ate. This is, I have to do it because everybody's gonna nag me that I didn't defend the cause and I didn't carry enough bullets in the gun and I didn't blah 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 and I didn't fight the war right, blah 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 blah. That's why I'm doing it, because I've been nagged by the universe into doing it. The points are, yes, I get the negative points off the burden of the negative points hanging over my head. So yes, I guess it's still a point system. One of the swords of Damocles is removed from the top of my head. some guilt. But regardless, yes, that's the way brains work. But to say there's no value to the fucking debate about, or argument about, why the fucking calculators have different numbers, to turn that, again, you're just turning another thing that's important, the discrepancy in our perception, into something trivial. That's what's wrong with you, fucker. That's what's wrong with the entire package you come with. You open the box and it's just full of excuses to fucking not pay attention to what's really important. The future. Sorry, I forgot I have to tell you what's really important. Oh, shit.